Am I the asshole for overruling my wife on a matter concerning our daughter? I, 42M, and my wife, 38F, have a daughter, 14, who is friends with the son, 13, of an acquaintance of mine. Because my daughter and her friend are different genders, my wife insists on always supervising their playdates. Our daughter can't go to his house, he has to come here. She always watches the kids when they're together and doesn't let our daughter close the door when they're in her room. To be honest, I always thought my wife was being fairly reasonable until this incident. Kids are kids, and they're nearing the complicated age. So I always backed my wife up, even when my daughter begged to be allowed to her friend's house. Recently, my wife was watching the kids while I was at work and realized she needed some things from the store. She made the children go with her so they wouldn't be alone. Apparently, I'm obviously getting all of this info second-hand. The kids wandered off while she was shopping. While they were alone, an employee approached my daughter's friend and accused him of stealing something. My daughter's friend turned out his jacket pockets, and there was nothing in there but his phone and keys. The employee demanded my daughter's friend remove his jacket, because she thought something was hidden under the jacket. My daughter's friend refused and said he didn't steal anything. My daughter called for my wife, and she showed up pretty quickly. My wife sided with the employee and asked my daughter's friend to remove the jacket. When he did, the employee saw the necklace he was wearing and demanded he take it off so she could inspect it to see if it was merchandise from the store. I've seen him wearing this necklace before, for the record. At this point, he ran out of the store into the cold, not wearing a jacket, and called his grandfather to come pick him up. I was at work when my acquaintance called me, furious. He said his son was half frozen when his dad got to him, which I believe, because it's very cold here right now, and that my wife profiled his son. He told me that his son won't be going over to my house ever again. Edit. My daughter wants me to add this. She, unlike me, know how to use Reddit properly and edit posts. Her friend is mixed race. His father was Indian, like India, not Native American. A lot of people asked and I didn't know, so hopefully they see this. Edit 2. My wife texted me that there was an emergency and I needed to call her, so I stepped out of the theater and did so. Guess what? No emergency. No surprise either. She told me I had no right to separate her from her daughter on Christmas. I said it was her choice and confronted her about what my daughter said at breakfast, especially about the food thing. She started crying and said I had no idea what that boy put her through. I hung up. Fuck this. It's Christmas. I'm watching Home Alone with my daughter. Edit 3. My daughter said this comment needs to be in the post itself. Yeah. The paying attention to the movie didn't last. She's become really intrigued by all these comments and has been on my phone for the last 20 minutes. I'm pasting it in. She showed me how. So my daughter and I are at the movies right now. After breakfast she said she didn't want to go home, so we're going to go to the Christmas movie marathon at the local theater. She went to get snacks. I have her $30, so she should come back with a small tub of popcorn. Damn these concession prices. So I'm going to tell you guys some of what happened at breakfast. It was a lot, so apologies if some stuff seems rushed over. Ask for clarification if you like. My wife is blowing up my phone right now, but I don't want to talk to her. This wasn't the first time something like this happened, just the first time it happened in public. Here's some of the things my daughter told me my wife did that they kept quiet about for fear of not being allowed to hang out anymore. I know. I'm a boss. I understand that now. I hate myself. My wife screamed at this kid for giving my daughter a gymnastics lesson. He's on a gymnastics team. They weren't doing anything dangerous. She made them stop and called him a pervert. I know. She screamed at them for playing with makeup. It belonged to my daughter and was a gift from my sister. I don't think it was expensive stuff. Even if it was though, who cares? She made him wash his face and go home. He told his grandfather he had a stomach ache that day apparently. She told him he eats too much food at our house. This is the worst one for me. I mad when she told me that. So, yeah. Learned some stuff about my wife. It's clear to me now that I haven't been an active member of my marriage in a long time. This was hard to learn. The hardest part was knowing that my daughter didn't trust me with any of this because she assumed I would side with her mom. I let my daughter read this thread. She wanted to know what made me change my perspective, so I told her. She wanted to read the comments people made. I was hesitant because of the foul language, but she's 14. She's not a baby, and I know she hears just as bad at school. We got to talking about the lesbian comments. She asked me what I would think of that. I told her I wouldn't care. I really wouldn't. She said she might be bi but isn't sure. I cried a little bit, because I made her feel like she couldn't tell me that, and honestly? I'm even more ashamed of that than all the stuff with my wife, as twisted as that is. My wife and daughter haven't been getting along for a while. A lot of it centers around this friend, but there's more to it. My wife and daughter view the world in fundamentally different ways. Since when do 14-year-olds have play dates? By 14 years old, there are no play dates, they are hangouts. I mean, all of the hang out stuff aside, your wife clearly threw this kid under the bus at the store because she didn't like him. Pretty fucked up, honestly. Poor dude. Is your daughter's friend a different race? Based on the profiling comment your work friend made, might that be a factor in why your wife feels the need to watch them so very closely? Not the asshole. Not the asshole. Do you really think we did such a bad job raising our daughter you need to worry about her doing whatever it is you think she's going to do? What do you think we did wrong? And what do you think we need to change so we can turn her into someone we can trust? It's weird how some people always worry their kid is going to do something but they are never bothered to change how they raise them to not be a person who would do it. They never seem to want to put the effort in on that part, but find endless time and effort for micromanaging or whatever you want to call it. They act like it's inevitable and want no plan to try to stop it, other than watching and restricting them. Because it was not her kid, I wouldn't have told him to take off his coat or take off his necklace. I would have asked to see the security camera tapes and called his family and asked them if they want me to call the cops because their son was being harassed by the store. He is a kid and was scared of the people at the store. Not the asshole. Your wife should have believed your daughter's friend since he is always at your and your wife's house, and I'm guessing he never stole anything. What 14 and 13-year-olds try something anyways, and if they wanted to they would hid it really well from your wife because she has to be doing something else than watch the two every hour of the day. If you haven't, you and your wife should sit down your daughter and teach her about sex since she probably started having her period and how to be safe in case she and her friend are trying out things. Info: why did your wife side with the employee? Has your daughter's friend did anything to make her think he isn't trustworthy? And how does your daughter feel? Everyone sucks here, your wife and the store employee for obvious reasons. And you for putting up with this ridiculous monitoring situation. You have to learn to trust your daughter at some point. And if she wants to, she will find a way to be alone with this boy, and there is nothing you or your wife can do to stop that. Also, furthermore, you have allowed your wife to possibly ruin your daughter's friendship, which will only hurt your daughter. Am I the asshole for refusing to make Christmas morning breakfast for my family? Background: 24 male, was the only one interested in baking, so I got all of my grandmother's recipes when she passed away. For the past 11 years I have been making her Christmas bread, a braided cardamom loaf, for breakfast Christmas morning. When I got to my parents' house this morning I had 2 pies with me which I made for dessert. I asked that they not be touched as I hadn't had time to do a taste test and I wanted to make sure they were good. I then went to the store to get the ingredients for the mentioned Christmas bread, and some tofu takeout for myself. I'm a vegetarian and my family doesn't serve any main dishes without meat. When I got back both pies were gone, to the point where my mother had already washed the dishes for me so I didn't have to bring back dirty dishes. I was, I think understandably, pretty upset. I didn't get to even taste either one, much less have a slice. And they ate both before dinner as well. It evolved into an argument pretty quickly because they've done things like this before. I almost didn't get a slice of my own birthday cake because I was cleaning up from baking it. And I just wanted at least an acknowledgement that they should have waited for me to start eating my pies. They refused and said they were perfectly in their rights to do so as the pies were my payment for staying with them and eating their food. I told them that if the pies were my payment then I obviously didn't need to make the Christmas bread, and they could do it themselves. They acted like I had told them Christmas was cancelled. I tried to backtrack a bit and told them that my mom could make it because she did until I started helping my grandmother, and that the ingredients were already bought. I've been called, entitled, spoiled, and accused of actually ruining our family Christmas. I get that they were expecting me to make it, but it's not like they're out of options for food tomorrow. I've been hiding in my car for the past half an hour trying to figure out if I was in the wrong and should just make it or not. So, am I the asshole? Edit. I ended up getting all my stuff and heading to a nearby friend. My house is a couple hours away. We made the Christmas bread together, and drank a bit, so it's not my best Christmas bread. Edit 2. I've had a couple questions about how long I was at the store and if anyone else brought anything. I was gone maybe an hour, or an hour and 15 minutes. They're pretty far from a good grocery store and the first place I went to didn't have any good cherries. Everyone usually brings an appetizer, side or dessert, so there were also other desserts there. And I've been messaging a cousin who got there around when I got back, and it appears there were 12 people plus my parents there when I got back. I guess I was a bit distracted. Thanks for all the holiday wishes. Not the asshole for refusing to be a personal chef for people who act entitled and don't pay you. Could I maybe get that recipe? Not the asshole. Go home. And don't bake for any family gathering again. Your family sucks and you shouldn't have to pay admission to visit them. Not the asshole. Not only did they eat 2 entire pies while you were out and didn't even save you a slice, never mind you asked them not to touch them. They had the gall to claim it was you payment to stay in your own parents' house and eat their food, when you have to get your own food because they won't include vegetarian food in the dinner. You also have to buy all the ingredients for the bread they demand you make for them. These are selfish, self-centered, entitled people. They are disrespectful and rude to as a guest or as family. They demand labor from you and won't give you the smallest courtesy or consideration. Go home. Make yourself the bread with the ingredients you bought. Send them pictures of you enjoying it yourself. Sometimes we have to make our families. Turn the car on and drive home or somewhere else. Seriously. This is incredibly disrespectful to you. If you can't or won't go home, then no, do not do the bread. Let them deal with it. Not the asshole. Not the asshole your family is using you. If you don't stay there, then you won't have to pay them. Not the asshole. Certainly not. But your family certainly seems like a bunch of entitled self-centered assholes. I'd pack my stuff, including the stuff for the breakfast cake, and go home. Seriously, payment for eating their food. You had to buy your own food too, since they don't serve veggie-friendly stuff. GTFO. NTA. They obviously don't respect you as an adult. I would leave. Let them figure it out. Not the asshole. Cooking for others is like giving a gift. They do not appreciate your efforts, so screw their entitled high-maintenance expectations. Am I the asshole for forcing my stepdaughter to go to my wedding? I, F32, have a daughter, F6, Kylie, with my fiancé, M39, William. He also has a daughter who is 16, Lee. Will is black, and his ex is completely black. So, while Kylie is mixed, Lee is fully black. Lee dislikes me because she believes I ruined her parents' marriage. His ex cheated. We didn't do anything until they were separated. Our wedding is on the day of his ex's birthday. It is also the day that Will is supposed to have Lee. Lee wants to skip the wedding in favor of her mother's birthday vacation. I told her mom's birthday comes every year and that our wedding will only happen once and that one day she will regret missing her dad's happiest day. She threw me out of her room and told me that my wedding meant nothing to her and that I was a white trash homewrecker. Her family is very wealthy, and I was struggling. Will bought me an apartment while they were still married, but nothing happened until after they were over. My fiancé and I decided to force her to go to the wedding. We got her a car for Christmas. We decided to change it from a Christmas gift to a birthday gift since her birthday is after the wedding. If she decides to go to the wedding, she will get the gift. If she doesn't, we will keep it for ourselves. When we let her know, she called me a vindictive bitch and said she would rather walk barefoot every day than go to my wedding in some stupid car. I feel guilty, but Lee has been such a problem child since me and her father started dating. She's extremely talented at cooking but refuses to help me cook the food. She accused my brother of doing something so vile that it makes me sick to think about it. It was not S.A. And she constantly leaves the house to go to her boyfriend's or back to her mother's house. Am I the asshole? You are the asshole. For everything. He bought you an apartment while still with his wife and you're trying to play innocent? Just because you weren't sleeping together yet doesn't mean there wasn't emotional infidelity going on. Your hands are not that clean, so stop pretending they are. And of course she wants to leave your house. You're giving off serious evil stepmother vibes here. There is a whole lot missing from this story. A person doesn't buy an apartment for someone without there being some relationship activity. Also, what the fuck did you schedule your wedding to fall on the ex's b-day? You are the asshole. You are being very manipulative and she called you on it. You are the asshole. She wants to be with her mom. She is also right. Using the car as a carrot stick is vindictive and will lead to more drama, and further resentment of you. Her behavior may be terrible, but why are you spending so much time discussing race when it's not relevant to the post? Our wedding is on the day of his ex's birthday. This is such an incredible fuck you to the ex. Moreover, it set up a situation where Lee would be forced to choose between her mom and her dad. You try to play yourself as the innocent aggrieved party here, but the above points suggest you and Will are not as innocent in all this as you let on. You are the asshole. There is so much wrong here. Telling her it's going to be her dad's happiest day? What about the birth of her? He got you an apartment while still married. Yet, nothing was happening. I call bullshit, and so does the daughter. Did you investigate the allegations against your brother? Or just assume he was innocent because you don't like the daughter? This whole situation is despicable. You're awful and are pushing this girl further and further away. I hope the father shapes up and chooses his daughter over his sugar baby before it's too late. Why did you schedule your wedding the same day as his ex's b-day? You should have thought that through a lot more. Should have chosen a different date. You are the asshole. You planned your wedding for her mother's birthday, refused to let her make her own choice about which to attend, and are trying to strong-arm her into going to a wedding she doesn't want to be at by making her birthday gift conditional. Gifts are never supposed to have strings attached, that is what makes them gifts. Also, she is clearly very troubled. Has anyone ever gotten her into therapy to try to help her? And, most importantly, do you know for an absolute fact that your brother didn't do what she accused him of? Because, if there is even a remote chance that he did, you are the biggest asshole alive. Among other names I can't call you on this sub without getting banned, for not getting her help. You are the asshole. Everything in your post down to she accused your brother of doing something to her and you dismissed it as a behavior makes you taw. Your statement about this being her father's happiest day was just throwing salt in the wound, and you know it. Leave her alone. She doesn't like you. And yes, you at least emotionally cheated. He bought you an apartment while they were still married. Am I the asshole for letting my sister's girlfriend propose at my wedding? So I, 26 female, and my only sister, 30 female, have always been really close, but our family is very homophobic. I came out as bi and she came out as lesbian, and let's just say they only accepted me because I still like guys. They didn't disown her or kick her out, but they have obvious issues with us. This only took place a few years ago, and before that I had already known she was a lesbian because her and her girlfriend practically raised me. Needless to say, they are both important to me. Recently, 1 week ago, I had my wedding with my sister as maid of honor, and a few days before it my sister's girlfriend, who is my second maid of honor, came up to me and asked if she could propose during the reception. I asked my husband if it was okay with him and he agreed. I was and still am extremely happy for them, and I honestly don't mind sharing such an amazing and important event in my life with such an important event in theirs. Well, it all went to plan and she said yes. The day after the wedding the complaints started. Calls and texts from family members that were mad about a lesbian interrupting a normal wedding. I was livid. I blocked them all on sight and asked my brother if it was really wrong. He explained that they are Christians and it upset them and they had a right to be upset. I honestly don't think I was wrong, aside from the fact of inviting those assholes in the first place. I haven't told my sister and I won't, because I'm not ruining this for her. TLDR, sister's girlfriend proposes at my wedding and Christian family gets mad. Edit. I understand that most people don't like the idea of someone proposing at a wedding, but that's not the case for me and my partner, and honestly my sister's girlfriend proposing at my wedding meant a lot to me. I'd see how other people would feel if it was their wedding. It was mine and I was more than fine with it. I don't get why people saying that they think it's wrong think it will change my mind. Not the asshole, your wedding, and your partner, and you both were fine with it. Whatever homophobic problem other people have is their problem, not yours. Not the asshole. You asked your husband, the only other person whose opinion mattered. The rest of them can suck lemons, because they're homophobes. Not the asshole. You and your husband did a kind thing in sharing your special day. For those having issue with same-sex relationships, that is their problem. Not the asshole. No, they did not have the right to be upset, because it wasn't their wedding. It was your wedding and your sister, she asked permission first. You and your husband were both supportive, so it was a perfectly fine thing to do. It's wonderful that she has a sister and brother-in-law who love and support them, especially since some other family members are so unaccepting. Not the asshole. It's your wedding, and they're homophobic. Not the asshole X1000. First, love that you let this happen at your own wedding. I'm so tired of reading of the insecure bride, groom-zillas who are so afraid of the spotlight being off of them for 2 minutes. How refreshing. Second, your brother is wrong. Your family has zero right to get upset. You know what Jesus said about homosexuality? Nothing. Congratulations and best wishes to all. It upset them and they had a right to be upset. This is true. But you also have every right not to care that they're upset. Not the asshole. Not the asshole if you and your husband has no issues. What is their problem? Is your homophobic family scared they would turn gay if they witness a proposal? I fail to understand their logic. I am a massive supporter of LGBTIQ rights. But I am 100% hetero. Same-sex does nothing for me. So what exactly are they so scared of? Your Christian, Fundy family is toxic and a bunch of imbeciles. This time of the year is perfect to drop such people from your lives and welcome peace and harmony to your lives.